Hey everybody, we are doing another story time. Truth and Tea with B. I normally do them in the morning, but I had a really busy day today and I woke up with a really bad headache. And unfortunately, the things I had going on today I could not cancel, so I had to push through it. So I can't wait to show y'all my hair tomorrow because baby Crystal slayed. She slayed that. She did that. And so that was one of the things I had to do. Um, so this morning, going into the salon and getting my hair done and being in a room with the chemicals and all that kind of stuff did not help my headache situation. After that, I had a parent workshop, and that went really, really good. It did. Today, in our parent workshop, I do workshops once a month for autism centers, and the workshop we did today talked about elopement, which is basically kids wandering off, autistic kids are wandering off, and we also talked about why kids are drawn to water, how they are primed for drowning, and making sure we look at some stats and put together some safety plans, all the things that make my heart smile to keep my autistic baby safe. But I've been thinking about this all day. Well, really, for a few weeks now. So I am going back to school. I know. Don't ask me how I'm about to do it because I work full time and I run a business and I have more than my share of stuff going on, but I am because it'll be beneficial. It will. It'll be beneficial. And so I've been trying to process the emotional barrier I have. I really do have an aversion for formal education for myself, not other people. I think it's so dope, and anybody that knows me knows when my friends graduate, especially my students, I still drive the importance of college degrees, and if that's their thing, some people, are more geared toward trades, etc. But definitely, at the very least, getting that high school diploma and getting something else under your belt, some sort of certification, if not a full degree. But for myself, I have struggled with an aversion for formal secondary education, and I've been trying to process why, and I think it kind of hit me a little bit. I'm gonna try to unpack some of this with my therapist actually next week when I have my therapy session. So I talked before about my daddy, who is amazing. My biological father, not so much amazing. So growing up, I probably saw my biological father maybe once every 2, 3 years, and I talked to him maybe twice a year, not real often. And whenever I talk to him, I've always been really smart, by the way. Like, me and my older brother both were in like gifted and talented programs. When we were really young, we went to preschool early. We knew all the things. My older brother's also really bright, and it just learning was not hard for me. It came really easily. Also, my family was really big on reading, so I was like reading full novels by the time I was like 4 years. Four, no, I was gonna say 4 years old. By the time I was in like fourth grade, and my grandmother always talks about how I just would read. She said I started reading at like 3. I would pick up a book, and I would just keep asking her, "What's this word? What's this word? What's this word?" And she said they looked up one day, and I was just reading, and I was probably like 3 years old. So I've always been really smart, naturally. Like, I think the hardest thing about this going back to school thing is I don't really have very good study habits, and I'm a little bit of a procrastinator. So we're gonna see how that works out with going back for this degree. But anyway, so yeah, I saw my biological father maybe a couple times a year, and he called me maybe twice a year. I talked to him maybe twice a year. I'm not gonna put it all on him. I do think there were moments in time where we didn't have a phone. You know what I mean? Like, there were definitely some reasons, but from my understanding, what I've been told anyway, which is a stretch, is that he always knew where we were. He always knew where I was. Like, it was never a thing where he just didn't know where I was at all. Um, but yeah, maybe once a year, maybe twice a year, I would talk to him. It was never more than twice a year, though. And every time he called me, he would ask the same exact question: how are your grades? That's the only thing he would ever ask me. It's the only thing he ever really wanted to know. And I'm pretty sure there was a method behind that. I don't know. But what it did was it really gave me an aversion for formal education and grades and things like that. Now, mind you, this entire time, I got good grades. I always did. But it just seemed like the only thing he cared about. Like, I don't remember him really asking me how I was doing, whether or not I was good in any way. It was always about my grades and always about my report card and things like that. And it just really, I think it bothered me more than I even realized. Because as a little girl, we're talking like in between like 5, 7, I I wanted, to be with my biological father. I remember, you know how when people ask you as a kid, like, what do you want to do? Who do you want to be? I knew very few facts about my biological father. I knew he could play the piano. I knew he knew karate. And I knew he was going to school for law. Those are the three things I knew about him. And when people would ask me as a kid, what do you want to be when you grow up? I would always say, oh, I want to be a music teacher, or I want to be a karate teacher, or I want to be a lawyer. Because that was my way of assimilating in some way to him and feeling like some sort of closeness to him, because those are the things that I knew he did. Um, so that was how much I craved as a kid, like just wanting to be connected to my biological father. And as I got older, it just, he never did the things. It is what it is. He never did the things. And so the idea of the grades and higher learning, that's another thing. He was always in school. Like my entire childhood, my father was like in college or doing some form of formal education. And I think I just really resented it. I really, really resented it. Also, being intelligent let me know that you didn't necessarily have to go to college to be intelligent. Like, that wasn't the reason to go. Like, you know what I mean? Because realistically, you read, you learn. Like, I'm very well read. I love reading about lots of different things. I know a little bit about a lot of stuff, and so I just did not want to. And then also, and this part is unfortunately true, a lot of people I know that have gone further in formal education, a lot of them are like arrogant jerks. Like, there's this arrogance that comes behind these letters, and you're looking like, okay, you know, you go to the bathroom the same way I do, right? So there was an arrogance behind that also my biological father had. He's very intelligent. He knows he's smart. He's so arrogant about it. And so, interestingly enough, I do think I did get to know him a little bit when I got grown. Like, I decided to try and let things go and build a relationship, and that kind of bombed. And I'll talk about that another time. But I did get to know him a little bit in my adult years, and I was like, dude is really kind of arrogant. You know what I mean? Like, he is smart, but he's arrogant. But it was really interesting to get to know him as an adult and see how much like him I am without him having raised me, which lets me know genetics is crazy, because I definitely have some traits like him. It's funny because my sister, we have different mothers, but my sister will point it out to me sometimes that I'm kind of like him. But yeah, so I don't know. I think going on this next journey of going back to school and being open to what that feels like has made me realize I need to unpack some of that, because I always say, like, the one thing that I don't want to do is be like the 70, 80, 90-year-old person in a nursing home talking about, well, my mama didn't hug me, my daddy didn't da da da. And so I think this is kind of a big step for me, like owning going back to school with intention, and kind of putting down my aversion for formal education, because it was the only thing that my biological father cared about. And so because of that, yeah, I just didn't want it. I didn't want it. And then once I got to the point where I was like, I don't really want to be connected to this man who hasn't been here for me, it made me even more like, yeah, I don't think I want that for myself. And I know it's interesting because my program is in high schools, and one of the things I push the most is that these kids get an education, because I see how difficult it is to be able to get ahead without it. Like I'm watching it, you know what I mean? So, yeah, I think that that is something that I am going to tackle. Yeah, we grow and we heal. We just grow and heal. But I can't wait to do my video tomorrow so y'all can see my color and all the things in its full bloom, because my hair is dope. I was so anxious to go get my hair done. Thank you again for joining me on Truth and Tea with B.